Hey there, and welcome back to XCOM. My name is Pete, and today we complete another episode of our XCOM Enemy Within Ironman Impossible walkthrough. In the last video, we took down an alien battleship UFO for the first time, and subsequently we had to take down 25 enemies. Against all odds, we succeeded and brought back a good amount of meld, which we will use now to continue to build our small mech army. Just as a quick reminder, for the By Our Powers Combined achievement, we need at least 4 mech troopers, 1 from each class. So far we have support, assault and heavy. What's still missing is the snipers, so let's get on that.
Our mech trooper is ready. We should build a cybersuit as soon as possible in the cybernetics lab.
And don't worry, we're not going to turn everyone's favorite Resilius Wargal into a mech trooper. Instead, we're using George Teasdale, who has been on the sidelines for quite some time now, and who has already also reached the highest rank in the game, which makes him a suitable candidate.
A chop here, a chop there, and soon enough we'll have a soldier unlike anything the world has ever seen.
The procedure will cost 10 units of meld, leaving us with 105, just enough to also build George a mech suit afterwards. And as a former sniper, George will receive a slightly more distanced build, which is why we are going for the flamethrower instead of the kinetic strike module, and also why we're going for the grenade launcher instead of restorative mist. With that, we now have another tier 2 mech. I think that's enough for the one mission that we'll likely only use it for, and we're also almost out of meld, so suit number 4 will have to wait for a while. We do have a couple more things to do in engineering though, starting with the Jellied Illyrium Foundry project, which is going to improve the mech's flamethrower damage output from 6 points to 9. That is still only half the amount of damage a fully upgraded kinetic strike module can do, but of course the flamethrower has the range advantage and can also hit multiple enemies.
The foundry is already warmed up. I'll make sure to notify you as soon as production is finished.
Now up next, our army of mechs of course needs some proper guns, and we have the money to spend, so let's grab 2 more particle cannons. We will also purchase a second hover ship here, so that we have 2 to accompany our 4 mechs, which will be necessary to unlock the Rise of the Machines achievement. Finally then, since we burned one in the last episode, we are also going to purchase a second dodge module defense matrix. Those are always good to have just in case another battleship appears. As you might remember, last episode's encounter was a pretty close call. And with that, all of today's prep work has been taken care of, so let's start scanning. Okay, looks like today's episode will feature a terror mission, and for panic reasons I actually think we need to take this one, even though our global panic levels are so low that it basically does not matter how poorly we perform. And with that being said, I don't think we need to spend too much time in the squad selection screen here. This is a very good group we have here, so let's send them out into the field once more.
Central, this is Big Sky. Confirm signal uplink. Strike team is in position near the terror site. Awaiting confirmation.
Solid copy, Big Sky. Strike 1 has been given the green light. Your highest priority is to protect those civilians.
Right, so business as usual here. We have 18 civilians on the map, and if we manage to rescue at least 14 of those, we get the excellent rating. However, if our goal is simply to not lose a country to panic for the rest of the game, then all we have to do is rescue 1 measly civilian, which, well, we can actually achieve with our very first move of the mission, as we send Luisa out to scout ahead.
Target confirmed. On our way. You're safe. Now get moving.
Okay, so with that we have now detected not 1 but 2 groups of enemies, the first one being nothing less than a Sectopod accompanied by 2 drones. Over on the other side, meanwhile, we have 3 chrysalids, and those are already 6 of the 15 enemies that we will encounter on this map. And no, that is not a spoiler, that is actually always the exact same number for all terror missions on this difficulty. Now we can get things started here with a chrysalid kill from Mr. Wargal. I don't think that we should engage the Sectopod on this turn, but with 2 snipers in the squad we can easily clean up the other 3 enemies. The first kill here also activates Combat Rush, but the second one is guaranteed either way, so let's get that one over with as well and then have Michelle finish the job. Now again, we're not going to engage the Sectopod on this turn. What we can do, however, is put Heavy Kim Lupa into ghost mode, so that she can move up safely, rescue a few civilians in the process, and also kind of scout out the enemy's line of sight. Andrea and Annette, meanwhile, can both move up as well. I actually feel like that full cover spot right next to Andrea would give away our position, so we're leaving them without cover for the time being, but make sure to save another civilian.
You're safe. Get back to our ship.
The Sectopod then actually moves further away from our squad, which is a bit unfortunate, but right at the end here it does still detect us, which is actually what we want in order to save as many civilians as possible. What we don't really want, however, is a group of heavy floaters to also appear on the scene at the same time, which means, unlike in the first turn, we now have 6 active enemies against us simultaneously. Now, thankfully, we have a guaranteed critical hit with Michelle here, so I don't think the floaters are going to be our main problem. Rosilius can then follow things up with a headshot of his own, and luckily he makes this one count as well. So, onto the Sectopod we go, which we do actually have a rather convenient solution for.
I'm on my way.
For that one to work though, Andrea needs to risk taking a reaction shot, but we get lucky and she escapes unharmed, which now puts her in position to use her Electropulse, and that ability will disable the Sectopod and the 2 drones for 1 turn. In her current position, however, it would also kill another civilian, so maybe let's get that person out of the fray first.
You're clear. Go.
Okay, so the civilian does count as saved here, even though they don't move, because they are blocked in from all sides. So I'm not actually 100% sure what's going to happen here. However, I'm pretty sure that the number of rescued civilians cannot actually go back down. But let's use the Electropulse now and find out.
Stand clear.
And that is actually the case. The civilian miraculously survives the blast. Much more importantly though, the Sectopod is now stunned and won't be able to harm us for 1 more turn. Now, we do actually have another floater to take care of, but with Luisa here we're not going to reach it, so let us instead have her take out one of the drones, because on terror missions those can be quite annoying as they have a high chance of killing civilians. And boosted by Combat Rush, Kim can now take a 65% shot against the floater. That hits, and that is absolutely lovely, because it means that we can now finish the job with 2 mind frays from Kim and Annette.
Can you feel the pressure? Hostile spotted.
Right, so I'll go ahead and say it, this right here could be a big problem. A second Sectopod has now appeared on the scene and we have just used our Electropulse on the other one. This right here would be the absolute perfect situation to use it. Instead, both Sectopods will now be able to act on the next turn, unless of course we kill them both first, which to be honest seems like an almost impossible task. Still, one decision remains pretty easy. I think there is no doubt about the fact that this situation calls for a rocket. And yes, this will kill another civilian, but right now that is the least of our concerns. The damage we do and the damage bonus we now secure against both targets is much more important.
Won't even know what hit him.
Now, there is still one way we could make this fight a lot easier, but that would require Palladium Talpas to hit a disabling shot here, and as you can see, the chance for that is far from great. Still, I feel like it's our best bet, so let's take the shot and see what happens.
Deteniendo avance enemigo. Mierda, no puede ser.
Okay, so with that miss, we now have to prioritize, and I think our number one goal here should be to take out at least one Sectopod. Our squad will then likely take some damage on the next turn, but if we can eliminate at least one of them, then that is going to reduce our suffering quite a bit. So we'll take 2 shots with Andrea here to start things off. Let's see if she can make them both count. Okay, so the kill should be doable here if Luisa deals enough damage. We can even take a free shot with her to hopefully accomplish that. What she needs to do first though is dodge the second Sectopod's reaction fire. Okay, so lucky break for Sharky Santoso. Let's see if she can make this shot count. Right, so that is the kill, and the explosion actually does some damage to the other Sectopod as well. And we also still have 2 rapid-fire shots here with Luisa, and well, I think the only smart thing we can do here is to take those. Wow, okay, so a critical hit on the first shot, and then the second one also connects. Talk about a clutch performance here by Sharky Santoso. When I recorded this footage, I actually screamed at my computer, because, well, if a net can do only 3 more points of damage here, then we might be able to accomplish what I previously thought impossible. Okay, right, that was certainly a round of XCOM. We just killed 2 Sectopods in 1 turn without our 2 snipers even doing so much as a single point of damage. But man, oh man, Luisa, Sharky, Santoso, how you have just saved our collective asses. Now, as crazy as it is, we actually have a full move left here with Resilius, so let's use that to get him elevated and then go on pistol overwatch. At this point we now also lose our 4th civilian, which means our excellent rating is in some danger, but let's be real here, that was never our primary goal for this mission. From high up in the air, Resilius can now quickly take out the drone.
Hostiles pacified.
I'm on my way.
And then we keep moving with Andrea and Luisa. The latter will actually head outside to the back of the building in just a second, but not before Andrea can dish out a round of healing. And since this map is pretty small, it does not come as too much of a surprise that we now find the last group of enemies here. Once again, we are dealing with 3 heavy floaters, and since we have already burned through half of our moves for this turn, let's just set up a few overwatches here and see what happens. If we lose the excellent rating by doing that, then so be it. Conveniently enough though, our enemies do actually move into reaction shot range, so let's see what Kim, Annette and Michelle can do here. Right, so it looks like we will be walking out of here with only 4 civilian losses after all. This right here does not strike me as too much of a challenge, so let's go to work for one last time this episode. Resilius actually has to come back down to the ground to establish line of sight, but that doesn't count as a move, so we can still go for the kill afterwards. Palladium Talpas then has an almost guaranteed headshot here, and she still needs that last promotion, so maybe this will help her achieve it. And finally, we are down to the last enemy with 6 hit points, which means with a double mind fray we can now finish this mission.
the pressure?
Another one down. Good work, Commander.
And here we are with a mission summary that, at least in my opinion, does not really tell the whole story. Things got extremely dicey there for a moment. I don't think that we would have necessarily lost a soldier to that second Sectopod, but I had certainly anticipated some nasty injuries, especially considering that I believe Luisa was already injured and without cover, Kim was flanked, Andrea was also injured and without cover, and in theory the Sectopod would have been able to shoot twice on its turn. So yeah, I think it's safe to say that we got extremely lucky there. And with that, let's return to the base now.
If all our missions go as well as this one did, the aliens don't stand a chance.
So here we are, and finally we have that last promotion for Michelle to help us. And for her final ability, we are going with In the Zone. I don't want her to be too similar to Resilius, and in the right situations, this ability can be very powerful as well. Now, from this mission, we also obtained 30 units of meld because of the high number of heavy floaters and sectopods, but we still need a bit more until we can build that last suit of mech armor.
We will be in touch, Commander.
What we can do at this point, however, is go for the next achievement, because there are only 3 more projects left to complete in the Foundry at this point, and we actually have the funds to do them all. So let's get started here with drone capture, which will allow us to use the arc thrower to capture enemy drones. Not all that useful in my opinion, but well, it's part of the list. The same goes for the rather expensive advanced construction, which unlocks an option to cut construction times in half, but because it's only available so late in the game and requires 2 Sectopod racks to be completed, I also consider it among the more useless projects in the game. Finally then, we have stealth satellites, which once again we're not going to get any use out of. What this does is it reduces the chance of your satellites being shot down by enemy UFOs, but for that to happen the UFO has to escape in the first place, and with 10 heavily armed firestorms at our disposal, that is not going to happen.
We're certainly keeping the boys down in the Foundry busy. I'll let them know you've got another project ready for production.
Now, the episode has not been going on for too long at this point, so I think we can still do some scanning here, and with a bit of luck, we might even unlock the next achievement before we have to make the cut. Now, first up, we have the completion of the Jellied Illyrium project, so once again, all of our mech troopers' flamethrowers now do a bit more damage. Stealth satellites are then unlocked shortly after, and right after that, George Teasdale completes his mech trooper augmentation, but we'll take care of him and that whole corresponding mech trooper business once we're ready to launch the actual mission. Up next, we then unlock drone capture, and that leaves us only with 1 more Foundry project to complete, and finishing that will then unlock the next achievement. It looks as if we are going to unlock another achievement first though, because the United Kingdom wants to send us 3 scientists in exchange for the rather low price of just a few sectoid corpses. And of course we will accept that proposal, which now unlocks the Oppenheimer achievement.
I appreciate your efforts to support the research team, Commander. I've already put the new recruits to work in the lab.
Here you can see it. With the addition of 3 scientists, our lab now occupies 81 of them, so that is another achievement taken care of. Our second hover ship is also quickly constructed, so apart from that last mech trooper, we are pretty much ready for that machines-only mission. Our second achievement of the episode is then also right around the corner here. With advanced construction, we complete the last remaining Foundry project in the game, and as a result, we unlock the Skunkworks achievement. So slowly but steadily, we are starting to run out of things to do, which is by no means a bad thing, as it shows that our plan to unlock every single achievement in this game actually seems to be working. For today though, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut. We are then very likely going to start our next episode with the next council report, and afterwards we will hopefully be a bit more selective regarding which missions we are going to take. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, then I would of course be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.